We needed to actually dig up the ground behind, or the floor behind the tank, seal it all in, and revert all the drains to our special filtration system.
That is just one of the extreme measures that the Toronto Zoo had to take to be allowed by the Canadian government to bring in Asian carp in an effort to educate the public to protect our waterways from this destructive species of invasive fish.
Looking at the individuals within the tank, we have our grass carp, which can be identified by the large scales and the narrow head. Swimming up down here is the newly introduced black carp. It has a darker shade than the grass carp. And schooling right up here with the mottled color and the larger head are our bigheads carp.
And now that you've seen them, the Toronto Zoo and the Government of Canada are hoping that you would recognize them if you ever see them in waters around Ontario. But they could look much different than this in the wild.
They can grow as much as 6 feet in size. They eat 5 to 20% of their body weight every single day, affecting the trophic level or the food chain, which will impact the ability of our native species to obtain enough food.
Because of their size, the amount of food they need, and their invasive tendencies, if these fish that are spreading throughout the United States reach the Great Lakes, it could have massive effects on our local fish and the ecosystem. And that's why it took 3 years for the Toronto Zoo to get permission to have these fish. And the extreme security measures put in place is not just about containing the fish themselves. They also have to make sure even their DNA does not escape into the water system.
So we have special containment areas that control where the water diverted to, and disinfectant systems before these waters even enter the City of Toronto sewer system.
And that's because the Department of Fisheries and Oceans monitors our area water daily for signs of the Asian carp.
So they test our water looking for eDNA coming from the fish to detect whether or not they're in the area. If we at the Toronto Zoo did not contain any of that water, it could actually give a false reading to the researchers. We made sure that it's not possible for our water or the fish to get into the local waterways.
If you think you spot one of these invasive carp in the Great Lakes, you can contact the Invasive Species Hotline. Find the link by going to our website, citynews.ca. At the Toronto Zoo, Audra Brown, City News.